Hi, my name is Stephanie Rivara. Today my speech is going to be on deported veterans. I've done this speech before and it's very important to me, but it's not a subject where I'm not open to criticism or open to remarks. I don't want, if you do see my video and you do want to, make your speech on mine, I don't want you to feel like I'm going to take it personal or anything like that. I just think that it is a subject that needs to be brought up more. A lot of people still don't know about it, and even though it won't affect me personally anymore, I still think that many families are still affected by it. So before we start, I want to give a bit of a disclaimer. For this assignment, we're asked not to do any controversial subjects. Although I do not believe the topic is controversial, it may involve some controversial points. Lately in the news, and this was previously, there was a lot of controversy surrounding football players and them kneeling for the national anthem. They said that it was a sign of disrespect to military veterans. And when it comes to the U.S. veterans, the media and everyone makes it seem like our veterans are if not the most respected men and women in our country. I mean, they do risk their lives for our freedom. Many people don't know that serving our country does not guarantee your citizenship. Many men and women have served and were discharged honorably from our military in the U.S. on green cards. Once a crime is committed by a U.S. veteran, green card holders, their military service is then thrown out and they are eligible for deportation. Even though there should still be certain steps that I should take before deporting military veterans, most of the time they don't know that they were military veterans, so they treat them as if they were just any other criminal. Although their service should not grant them a free pass, deportation of U.S. veterans should not ever be an option. It is unethical, insulting, and against everything that America is supposed to stand for. For purpose of clarification, I offer the following definitions. Deported is defined as to expel a foreigner from a country, usually on the grounds of illegal status or for having committed a crime. And military veterans is defined as a person who has served or is serving in the armed forces. Therefore, I stand resolved that deporting our U.S. military veterans should be illegal for the following reasons. 1, the only way that these deported men and women can come back onto U.S. soil legally is in a casket. 2, most, if not all, the crimes that were committed to make these veterans eligible for deportation are connected to PTSD they receive from their service. And 3, these deported men and women are unable to receive the benefits that they earned by serving our country. 1, the only way that these men and women can come back onto U.S. soil legally is in a casket. Military funerals are funeral services given to eligible men and women, those who served in active duty military for 24 consecutive months or more with an honorable discharge. The rendering of military funeral honors free of charge is mandated by law. C, because of their honorable discharge, they must be presented with a military funeral despite their deportation. And D, these men and women are not good enough to come into the U.S. legally, but can have a proper military burial on U.S. soil once they pass. 2, most, if not all, the crimes committed by these deported veterans are scientifically proven to be connected to PTSD. A, most, if not all, crimes committed by these veterans are substance abuse crimes, where they served 6 months to 2 years maximum in jail. And this was from PTSD, National Center for PTSD. B, more than 2 of 10 veterans suffering with PTSD also suffer with substance abuse disorder. And C, war veterans with PTSD and alcohol problems tend to be binge drinkers. Binges are often caused by bad memories and combat trauma. D, the U.S. does nothing to help these veterans that are suffering with PTSD, and because they committed a crime as green card holders, their military service seems to no longer be valid. 3. These deported men and women are unable to receive the benefits that they earned while serving in our U.S. military. Serving for a country honorably automatically makes you eligible for a variety of benefits, including but not limited to healthcare, disability, VA loans, GI Bill, and B, because these deported men and women are sent to their homeland, they are unable to receive the benefits that they earned. C, the U.S. only grants you those disabilities if you're in the U.S., but these veterans don't have the option to come back into the U.S., therefore they are left with no benefits, which they earned. And D, deported veterans are dying because they are not receiving the health care that they earned, and when they are finally approved to receive the benefits, it is too late. Many Americans have repeated that if you commit the crime, you need to do the time, and that your service does not grant you a free pass, but these deported veterans are essentially doing a double sentencing. One for the actual jail time that they earned for the crime that was committed, and a life sentencing in a country that most of these veterans have never been in since they were born. These veterans risked their lives for us, serving during time of war, lost family members, and we are repaying them by grouping them up with any and all other illegal immigrants. The citizens of our country are outraged at people taking a knee during the national anthem, but what about the outrage for the hundreds of veterans deported and separated from their families? When I first created this in 2017, it was very real to me because my dad was a deported U.S. veteran. He served in the U.S. Marines for 4 years active duty and 4 years reserves. In 2018, he was in a car accident in Mexico, which is the country he was deported to. He hadn't been in that country since he was 6 years old, and he was deported there. Because he was deported, he was not able to come back. We applied for humanitarian parole, and the humanitarian parole was not approved until it was too late. By the time that my dad crossed the U.S. border, he was declared brain dead. So now my dad is buried in a military cemetery, and I mean, that just shows how unethical and how wrong it is what the U.S. is doing to these families and doing to these veterans. My dad suffered from substance abuse while a couple years after the military, and he suffered from depression, and he has actually lost his brother in the Marines as well, and he never got help from that, even though he was still in the military when his brother passed. So, I mean, those are all things that show how unethical and how wrong it is what the U.S. is doing to these deported veterans, or to these U.S. veterans. I therefore stand resolved that deporting U.S. military veterans should be illegal for the following reasons. The only way that these deported veterans can come back to U.S. soil legally is in a casket, like my dad. Most, if not all, the crimes that were committed to make these veterans eligible for deportation are connected to PTSD they received from their service, and these men and women are unable to receive the benefits that they earned from their service. Thank you.